Hello, welcome to April 5th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. I do this every morning. I've been doing it since 2018. It's what I do to remind myself of my personal life objectives and principles, and to see how I'm doing applying them every day. Otherwise, the days just start to flow one to another, and before you know it, the weeks have passed and the months have passed, and where did it all go? So if I take a moment every morning to look what the hell I did yesterday, maybe I'll have an improved chance of doing better today. Okay, first last night and yesterday, and I'm feeling better today. I'm feeling better today because I did wake up in the middle of the night. Not the middle of the night, an hour before the alarm went off, in earnest. I woke up, I've got some important things to do today for work, and I was thinking about those things. It's interesting how I wake up, like if I was a cobbler, I would wake up making shoes. If I was a carpenter, I'd be building a house. Well, whatever my profession would be, that's what I would be doing. I'm a project manager, so I wake up mitigating issues. And that's what I was doing this morning, mitigating issues. Trying to think about how I'm gonna squeeze said mitigation into a single day for all the things that I have to tackle. And thinking about how I could have done a better job yesterday, but preparing for today. It's a never-ending thing. And then suddenly there was just a part of me that, what was it? Gosh, I was asleep, or not asleep, but dreamland. That's why I write everything down. It's as soon as it comes into my head, it's gone. And then something happened while I was laying in bed. Something happened, and I thought of an idea, and I applied that idea, and I think that's why I'm feeling better right now. Whatever it was I did, less than an hour ago, worked. And now I can't remember what the heck it is. It was something about the way I was looking. It was a perspective shift. And darn it, I lost it. It's like having a big fish on the line. The one that got away. It was a big one. That was going to be a record breaker. Maybe I'll think about it over breakfast and it will come back to me. One thing I did yesterday that, the bullseye aim, I had a Dr. Johnson anecdote to share, and I worked hard on it. I tried it twice. I tried to read it narrate it, play it, perform it into the camera twice. And the first time it failed because of circumstance. I was out on the golf course, and there was an inquisitive woman who caught sight of me, reading like a madman out on the golf course with my dogs. She caused me to flee. And that flight kind of upset the narrative. And then, so I gave that one up. And then I came back here, and I went to the dog park, and while the dogs were running around, I laid out kind of scripted it, how I was going to do it. I came back here, and I pulled it off. I did a good job sitting right here. But somehow, the microphone, which sits right here, wasn't plugged in properly to it's a wireless thing. It wasn't properly plugged in, and the audio is bad. Bullseye aim, right? Shooting for the mark, missing. That's okay, I'll consider it a second try. And sometime today, after work, I'll try a third time. Otherwise, yesterday was a good day. Hard day, of course. Had to go to the post office at noon to mail my taxes, and the line was long. I'm going to have to go to the post office again today. Good day otherwise. Solid day. Man, just, it's like last week. Last week was just so intense. Every day. I even tried yesterday, to squeeze in I mean, I've got a perfect spot right here. I've got this open spot next to, excuse me, I have this really nice big office. I've got this open spot that I laid out. It's all set up for yoga on a nice soft carpeted area. And I started it, and I get a 20-minute break in the morning and a 20-minute break in the afternoon. And almost never do I get to take those breaks. I tried to take it in the afternoon, and the phone rang on the computer. Emergency meeting. I didn't get to do it. And today, my last meeting is after work, which is not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. But that's a tricky one because the dogs know when work ends. So I'll be in an important meeting with executives while my 2 dogs are on either side of me. Daddy, let's go for a walk. Cool it, dude. Just a little more time. Boy. But at least, and this is just the comment of how do I say this? Do I even want to say it? At least my kid is grown. It's like it's like an amplifier, a signal booster, right? Whatever's going on that's challenging. When you have kids, when you have small kids, it just takes that amplifier and amplify it. So imagine, the big amps at a rock concert, like that. That's but all the time, and you don't realize that in the moment how that is. Thank God if you did. Because now the only reason I realize that now is that my daughter is grown, and the amplifier is dialed down, back down. It's like a low bass rumble. And what's more, someone's because they've taped the volume, so it can't go up because it can't. At this point, the problem becomes reconciling the silence, which is, I saw a thing on Instagram yesterday. It was a meme, and it was a thing, that thing where this thing that's on Instagram right now. You have the camera look at you in the app. I don't know if it's real, but you see it. People do it in the app. Is examining your face, and it's telling you when you're gonna die, right? How long you're gonna live. And it was a woman my age, and she was doing it, and the spinners of you're gonna die in 2000, 40, 2000, whatever. And her clock said 2072, and her reaction was, well, no, and you reach a point where, death is a blessing, No, it's funny because the way that her that that Instagram meme thing said the story perfect. But you reach a point where it's like, you've gone the bell-shaped curve of life, right? The early years, and then the intensity of the midlife, and then drying down, and right. It's like how long are you going to want to be on that bottom? Heck, I can do it like this. Your classic bell-shaped curve, right? And here's your early life, and then this is describing the intensity level, right? Early years, drawing up into intensity, and this is going to be like your child raising years, career, balancing career, kid, spouse, family, everything like that, all that, and then as the kids grow and your career kind of winds down and you get more mature, everything kind of drops off, right? And then you reach down here. What is the word? Asymptote? Leading towards an asymptotic, decline to zero. I guess it can't be asymptotic because you'll eventually reach zero when you die, right? And the thing is, that meme was, her prospect of being my age. I should be dead. I should be dead in the 2040s. Likewise, that woman in the thing. The idea. So right around here, right? Death. Why? The idea of her 72 means is pushing that thing out to here, right? What's that? So, how did I get to there from that? But it was. I laughed. I saw that. Yeah, all right. And because and even Dr. Johnson, I think there's a quote. I don't know if I shared it. He talked about that as well. The decline, the faculties declining, the fear increasing, the loved ones waiting for you to pass on so that they can scrabble after your goods, the aches and pains, and I think I might have captured that as one of my quotes that I do. Anyway, that's what I mean. The level, okay, and that corresponds to the amplifier, right? The dial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The dial of life, that, and up here to 9, right? Where it's up there 9 and 8 and 7 range up here, and I'm down right about here now, right? And the dial's down to 6. So that's what I meant before. That's the whole purpose of it. I'm saying, I know that, tough days, but it's only a 6. Whew. Thank gosh, my days of 9 are done. Although maybe they'll come back. Maybe it's a different type of dial, right? When when health comes and stuff like that, that's a different dial. That's a switch over here or something, a different switch. Like I'm coming down with cancer and being given a strict prognosis of death, maybe catching it in the latter stages. You got 6 months. That's some other dial that I can't even apprehend yet, that's been turned up, right? The dial of mortality, right? The dial of, okay, whoosh, sweep aside the blinders, all this life of distraction. Witness the great indifference. No, I can't see that. No, I don't want to see that forever. I'll be forever. I'll see them forever. We'll make amends. Mom, Dad. After the grave. And then that cold Vista. That's the whole message of my stinking book, right? Is to face that Vista now. But I don't know that I could. I don't know how I'll respond to that. Maybe that's where having religion is the great blessing. Maybe even if it's not true, at least it's like having a Tylenol for a headache, right? At least maybe it can. Well, it's not even that. It's what would it be? It would be a blessed placebo, right? That's another good one. Blessed placebo. I got lots of good titles today. Okay, let's do the good life. I've got a busy day. Nevertheless, I need to do one thing slowly. I've got a busy damn day though ahead of me. Not a damn day, a busy day. I'm finding. I almost see it. The trick I was doing this morning, I almost see it. It has something to do with that. Something to do with the relative nature of things, and it has something to do with the volume too. It was like that volume control again. It's that static. Bam, turn that down. It's not it though. The good life. 7 objectives, 30 principles. Here we go. The 7 objectives are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, and to always do just one thing at a time, and to do whatever it is I do slowly, unless I'm being chased by a hippopotamus. Now for my 30 principles. The principle of war, to always fight against what I think is true and what others propose to me is true, until there's some reason to think it is. Number 2 is the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, where reason is the tool that I use to fight that war against the propositions of truth. Not fighting for things, fighting against them. I always want to be laying siege to truth, especially truth that I hold as true. The difference being the propositions of truth, I have to fight against those. And then I especially have to watch out for the things that I've already accepted as true, because I become complacent in holding them. The next principle is the homunculus, the idea that though I do not have a soul, I do have a consciousness, and I get to enjoy that for some time. And then the principle called the Anchorhold. My consciousness is ultimately quite alone, separated from all others. No way to cross the chasm between one person and another, just a semaphore across the waves. Then the principle of the home of good and evil. Right and wrong are relative stances, tentatively held. Well, they should be tentatively held, subject to that aforementioned war. They approach appearing objective when we agree upon them with others. But still, the idea is there's no right and wrong out there in the universe. The closest thing to it is our biological mandate to procreate and to make copies of ourselves, to get our as many copies of our DNA into the next generation. But even that's only a mandate through the convenience of the fact that it works. We wouldn't be otherwise. Wow, that really slides open a little crack of a window on the question of free will, does it not? Again, in the argument against free will. The whole apparatus of all the decisions that we make that lead to family and home and next generations being driven by the imperative of survival, where that imperative isn't even an imperative of its own. It's simply a self-propagating chemical reaction. It's enough to twist your brain into a pretzel. But it sure is fun. Okay, then comes purpose. My purpi are 3. Biology, be a good husband, father, raise my kid to the next generation. Virtue, be a good man, helping to improve the well-being, the happiness of thinking creatures. And mission, to share the story and message in my book, Going Alone. Then comes the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces. It all boils down to atoms. Then comes the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, and it's good to recognize what that is. Like Tuesday has a nature, and I'm ready for that nature today. I do feel like I'm ready. And then maturity. No, the pirate ride. Free will is an illusion. We can make any choice we want, but ultimately, every choice we made is the only choice that we could have made under those circumstances. There's far more to our decision making than the choices that we make. Then comes maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude, which characteristics, when applied and utilized, create a mature human being. And then the social principle, we need each other. We're social creatures. It's good to have friends and family and the whole thing. coworkers, etc. Then comes, after the social principle, public speaking. A reminder to be very careful about what I say and what I compose, and etc. And to use very few words, to use words that are relative and well understood by the people that I'm communicating with. Even though I have a good vocabulary, it's one of the things I really enjoy is words. I'm careful not to use words that either sound pretentious or will be confusing, even if it is the proper word for the case. And when I'm reading and when I'm writing, I read. When I'm writing business correspondence, I read, I write, I compose, I read, proofread again, and send. Unless it's just let's go have lunch. If it's important when I do it, a couple of times, helps to clarify things. If I have any superpower at work, that's it. It's that I'm careful and deliberate in my communication, and I'm careful and deliberate in my listening. Just the things that my dad suggested I should try to pick up when I went off to college. He said it doesn't matter what you study. Learn to listen carefully and to be heard and understood. Okay, next comes the principle of temperance, and the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Or it's simply a recommendation to consume less. Not just food and drink, but things that consume my time as well, work and play, etc. And then the principle of the horror show. Life is a terrible, scary place. Horrible things happening all around, and I want to remember that and help to alleviate that suffering. Then the principle of that which must be borne with an E, carried. And what I have to carry are, one, the fact of the horror show. I have to be cognizant of that. I also have to carry my responsibilities that I've taken on as a husband and a father, etc., etc. Good employee, good citizen, reasonable human being. Then comes distraction. We distract ourselves from so many things so that we don't have to witness the emptiness of the universe. I talked about that a lot earlier. That's distraction, two principles, distraction, and then the other principle is agency and the great indifference. The great indifference is the thing we're trying to avoid. Agency is us. Then comes the best seat in the house, a reminder to be all right with what I am, who I am, and where I am, all the while working to make a better life. Then the path of wildness, which is a trick that I use to break out of one life and into another life. It's a way to move forward in decision-making, even when I'm unsure, using my gut, prepared to be wrong. It works. I've done it many, many times. And I'm going to do it again. Next comes the risk of avoiding risk. Surface level risks are things like education and career, family, home, saving for your retirement, things like that. The deep risks are the risk of fearfully waiting out life and not attempting to uncover or create, and even more so to live the person that we feel inside that we could be, that we want to be. Yet we're a little bit afraid to do so, and no one's really encouraging us. They're all encouraging us to get that degree, get that job, get that spouse, raise those kids, buy that house, invest in your 401k, spend time in your garage on the weekend, take up cooking, watch TV, all those kinds of things. Go to church, pray to God, believe, and it'll all be over before you know it. That's the deeper risk. Sin and damnation is the next principle. And the 8 sins in my worldview are falsity, credulity, faith, hope, superstition, dogma, authority. Authority? Dogma. I feel like I missed one. And then gossip. I missed one in there. Dogma. Authority. I think authority is the one. It's a damned life to abide any of those things or to suffer ourselves into gossip. Complete oblivion is the suggestion that when we're dead, since we don't have a soul, since there is no God, since there is no heaven or hell, there is no afterlife, that means there won't be any chance to have a happy reunion with anyone after we're dead. We're not going to see our loved ones again. We're not going to have a chance to make amends, and there'll be no justice after death. So it's a waste of time to wait for those that wait out life, hoping for that, because it looks like that's not going to happen. So we better live in earnest now and pursue those things while we can. Find our loved ones, give them a hug, try to make amends, and work towards justice while life is still in our laps. The Great Life Adventure is another principle. It's one or more things that we do in life that help us to form our story, the story of our life, and give us our centerpiece, our identity. The season of philosophy is just a reminder. It's another principle. Just a reminder to, when the muse speaks and whispers in our ear, we better heed what it has to say, or at least write it down. Next comes the bullseye aim. We shoot for the mark, but we usually miss, like I was mentioning before, like with that video I was trying to make. Likewise at work. Like I'm shooting for a bullseye aim. I have a really important meeting this afternoon. I know what the target looks like. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'll probably miss by a bit. We'll see. I'm feeling pretty kinky today. Uphill climb is another principle. Up, trudging uphill all the day. Every day is another step forward. I guess that's part of the reason why this part is so important, right? This is the real heavy part of the uphill climb, right? When we're carrying our children, and we're carrying our mortgage, and we're carrying our career, and just shouldering our way up the hill. Now, this is still an uphill climb down here, but there's less of a burden. The kids are carrying themselves. The mortgage is paid. You know, we're at that part of our career when we can take it easy a little more. Or better yet, we're retired. Oh, I can't wait. Think about it every day. Next comes arena and utility. Life is an arena for the pursuit of our life objectives and principles. The principles hanging like tools on a tool belt around our waist. And then nothing is enough. A suggestion that less is better. And then finally, the last principle is the principle of fun, which I have to remember. There was something in the book I was reading yesterday. I need to add it relative to that. It wasn't even a Dr. Johnson quote. It was a quote of one of his associates. Just remember to enjoy life, have fun. I'm not very good at that. I tend to be. I haven't gotten over this climb, right? I'm still, even though I'm going down the hill. This is the downhill. Even though I'm going down the hill, I'm still trudging like I'm going up the hill. Relax, Kurt. Cool it. Sleep. Okay, that's it. So now the forecast for the day. Today's going to be a good day, because I feel good. I feel energized. Not sure just why. I think it had something to do with whatever it was that I had in that inspiration in the moment after I woke up at 4 a.m. It did something to me. Or maybe it's the caffeine. Anyway, forward. Have a good day. Be safe, but not too safe.